On January 10th, 1864, scientist, agriculturist George Washington Carver was born. Now, it is stated, I have not run across actual documentation, that he endured castration because his owners, benefactors, did not want him to have relations with their daughter. Now, that's been circulated. I cannot verify it, but what we can verify is that he was very talented, very intelligent. And when he went off on his own, he accomplished a lot. And it is stated that he was taught to read and write by the people he was named after. So let's take a quick look at George Washington Carver.
Many know George Washington Carver as that peanut guy, but this hardly scratches the surface when it comes to arguably the most important and influential agriculturalist in American history. This is the untold truth of George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver, enslaved at birth, was born in Diamond, Missouri sometime in the 1860s, toward the end of the Civil War. His mother, Mary, was enslaved by Moses and Susan Carver. It's suspected that his father was an enslaved man on a nearby farm who was killed before George was born. When he was just an infant, George, along with his mother and sister, were kidnapped by Confederate raiders. Moses Carver's neighborhood reclaimed George and brought him back to the farm. Tragically, though, George's mother and sister were never heard from again. Freed after the passing of the 13th Amendment, George was then raised by the Carvers along with his older brother Jim. George Washington Carver proved himself to be a most unusual child. Moses Carver's wife, Susan, taught George to read and write, and soon he was consumed by the love of learning. On the Carver farm, young George, enfeebled by whooping cough, took on domestic chores such as cooking, laundry, and gardening. Carver also developed a complete fascination with painting, algebra, music, and most of all, flowers. Carver later described flowers as his pets, writing that, quote, "All sorts of vegetation seemed to thrive under my touch." With his green thumb, Carver was dubbed the plant doctor by those who knew him. Though the Carvers had allowed George to study at home, at the time, public schools were not open to black children. But there was an all-black school in Neosho where Carver boarded for 2 years in the late 1870s. Carver bounced around the Midwest using his domestic skills to fund himself and finished out his high school degree. But when George Washington Carver was accepted to Highland College in Highland, Kansas, the offer was rescinded as soon as the college discovered that he was black. In the late 1880s, Carver moved to Winterset, Iowa, and became a cook at a large hotel. It was there that he made friends with John and Helen O'Holland. The couple pushed Carver to enroll in Simpson College to study art and piano. But Carver's art teacher, Etta Budd, saw a burgeoning botanist in her student and encouraged him to change his academic focus. Taking her advice, the next year Carver moved to State Agricultural College at Ames, Iowa, to study agriculture. Carver was able to utilize his keen artist eye in the field of horticulture, though, contributing his own drawings of plants to botanists. In fact, Carver's painting, Yucca and Cactus, won an honorable mention at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. In 1894, Carver earned a Bachelor of Science degree and became a faculty member at the college.
Thank you for joining me here at Take 5 with Vinay 5. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about as it pertains to George Washington Carver. Thank you for joining me, and be blessed.